Hi guys. I hope we've had a wonderful week so far. It's unfortunate the bishop isn't here, but at least let's start the discussion. Probably I can begin it from the point of last week when we were talking about love. And love, we talked about how God is love and what love is. Love is a frequency, love is a currency. Um, Love is a vibration, love is an action, love is a choice, love is a decision. But based on where I come from, we have also been taught that perfect love casts out all fear. And when you walk in love, we said when you're walking in love, you're walking in the very essence of who God is and what God is. So we began by saying that when you walk in love, you're walking in God, you're walking with God, you're walking and operating in God, of God, through God. So you walk in love, you walk uh, through love, you walk of love, you know everything else, the very essence of what love is. So when you are walking in love, you're walking in God. And when you're walking in God, when you're full of God, you cannot fear. Because whether you want to say, as I've said, it doesn't matter how you call this divine entity or divine intelligence or the source of life, the one infinite creator, whatever it is that you call this source, just know that when you're walking in the essence of what God is, if you're walking in the fullness of what love is, then you cannot fear. And we have been told before about what fear is. Fear is false evidence appearing real. And I like what we have been told before, that when Salim talks, he has talked to us before about how everything presents us to us, comes to us as neutral. And what we do is that we basically get to flow with the same from a standpoint of you give it definition, you define it. It is you who breathes life into it. It is you who determines what it is by the very by your perception of the same, by what you're thinking of the same, by what you're seeing of the same, by what you believe of the same. And this ideally comes from the place of our mindset. So fear is one of what we've talked about, how life is energy. We are all vibrational beings. And I like that we are in this school of life, as we have seen also in some of the things that have been shared to us, to basically know how to manipulate energy. And when you and I understand what the manipulation of energy is all about, then we can begin to walk in boldness and in the authority and in the fullness of who we are, the manifestation of what we are, the manifestation, the realization of who we are, and the manifestation of who we are basically is grounded in the fact that we have to go out in boldness. And so in this life, we have um, the place of walking in the fullness of who we are. And as divine entities, the more we embrace um, God, the more we embrace divinity, the more we raise our level of consciousness, then we realize that the ability of fear to hold on to us, it loses its grip. And the more we become more God conscious, the more and the less fearful we are, the more bold we are, the more driven we are, the more expressive we are, the more of a manifestation we are. And so, as we have said, that life is what is is all about vibration. It's all about energy. And so when you're looking at fear, fear is one of the lowest forms of existence. When you're looking at that, we live from a place where that is contracted. When you're living in a place from when you look at life from a contracted view, from a restricted view, from a limited view, you as an individual cannot be able to harness and cannot be able to fully exhaust that which is of you. And so you limit yourself to a certain level of suffering. Fear brings us suffering. Why? Because fear inhibits, fear restricts, fear hinders us from really walking into the fullness of what our capacity and our divine abilities, basically because we fear. And then when you begin to walk in that, then you realize that the more you overcome that. And how do we overcome fear? So we live life. When you're living in fear, you're living from life at a contracted view. You're living life at a limited view, and because of that you suffer. Because whatever it is that you and I fear, we shall experience. Everything that you ever fear in your life, you will ultimately experience, because whatever it is that you're sending out, it will come back to you. Life is an echo. Whatever you're sending out, it comes back to you. And so how do we begin to overcome fear? We begin to overcome fear by maximizing on our desire. The only thing that we can begin to do is to have a desire. To have a desire that will be that will be your grounding point, or that can be your foundation through which you will live your life. How do we do that? We have a desire that will move us from the place of limitation, of fearing of venturing out, to venture out, what. And then we begin now to just enter into a place where we are growing, we are developing. And even if it is one step at a time, one day at a time, the most important thing is to at least begin that journey. And we begin that journey through desire. So how do we overcome this? The thing about fear is that you have to identify it. Identify that which is in you, that which you're fearing. Begin to call it out. Begin to speak it. Begin to declare it. Begin to just basically, the more you declare it, the more you sound it out, the more you voice it, you realize that, hey, I really have a fear of this, that, and the other. And then when you begin to do that, you can now begin to reprogram your mind, because that which you share does not have a hold over you. Many a times we realize that as individuals, we want to be that person, or those people that look like we are all together, we are all we are all how do I say it? But we are all switched on. And yet there's that time when you'll always feel this thing that will cause you to fear, or to feel like you're inadequate, or to feel a sense of inability. But the the change begins to come when we now begin to take on positivity. How is taking on positivity? How does taking on positivity help us? It begins to enable us to see that whatever it is that we are going through, we are overcomers. Whatever it is that is happening to our lives, we are able to go over and above, over and beyond that which we are called to do, that which we are created to do, that which we are here to do here on this earth. It only begins when you now begin to do what? To identify your fear. So whatever it is that you are experiencing, whatever it is that is incapacitating you, when you begin to objectively look at it, and I tell people you need to um, separate yourself, if I can use that word, uh, just detach yourself from that fear. Don't let that fear absorb you. Don't let that fear control you. So the first thing you have to do is to detach yourself from it. How do you detach yourself from it? You detach yourself from it by now, first of all, declaring that I have a fear of this, and then you look at it from a point of positivity, because many a times what fear will cause us to see or to do is to only walk and see things from the negative aspect. So whatever it is that you are fearing, you begin to tell yourself, what am I fearing? Why am I fearing this? What exactly is this situation or this circumstance telling me? And then now you go inward. And what is it about going inward? Going inward is all about now going back within and understanding the divine entity that you are, understanding that within you there is that divine ability that has been deposited in you, that divine power, that divine, that dominion that you can and you are able to unleash. But more often than not, unless you allow yourself to exhibit that which is in you, then you really limit yourself. So first of all, detach yourself from that fear. Don't possess it. Many a times we like possessing. How is it that we possess fear? We possess fear by saying, unajua you know me, I'm always so, I'm this, I have a fear for, when you possess that, I am fearful of that which you're declaring you become, that which you're embracing, you actually morph into. Whatever you embrace, you become. Whatever you resist, and whatever it is that you are able to like now deny, you are able to extricate yourself from it, and really detach yourself from it. Because when you begin to identify that that fear is having a hold over you, you are now able to arise and then take on this other form that is in you. Remember, it is just a function of decision. It's just a form of decision. Everything that is negative in us has a positive. Anything that is positive has a negative. And those are, that's the law of the duality, of the law of polarity that is there. That you as an individual, with everything that you will fear, you will find that you are fearing, you have to realize that there is a faith of it or a boldness side of it that you need to embrace. So do not possess it, do not claim it. And we need to really go back and take a look at that which we are fearing, and really just introspectively look at ourselves and ask ourselves, what am I fearing? And we really must be able to give expression to it, because when you declare it, it cannot hold you. And now, how is it not holding you? Because how is it not holding you? Because now you can objectively look at this and really detach yourself, as I've done, and as I've said that we can do, and then now embrace the positive aspect of that which is negative in that situation. So if you're a person who's fearing, and I tell people, face the fear, but feel the fear, or feel the fear, but do it anyway. So feel the fear, but you have to face it. Just whatever it is that you're fearing, be bold enough to go on ahead and face it. Be bold enough to go ahead and challenge it. I think there's that story, or there's this photo that I saw some time back of, when you're looking at a wall, there's this thing that looks like it is so huge from the place of perception, how it is that you're perceiving it. It looks like a mighty, mighty lion, and yet it was just a shadow of a cat. Yeah. We've also seen ourselves with the people that like doing animation with the hands. We've seen how people just are able to bring into fore things that, when you're looking at it in the dark, then you find that you're limited. You find that your perception of that is really restricted to what it is that you're seeing, because you are in darkness. But in actual sense, these people can do anything with their hands, anything, and we are wowed by it. And that also is just indicative of fear. Fear, when you are dwelling in darkness, will make you see, it will make you perceive things that really aren't really there. So, what is another way of beginning to contend with fear or overcome fear? Is by you coming back and really just bringing the light into that situation. How do you bring the light? You objectively ask yourself, so what am I fearing? You're fearing being broke. I saw earlier today in one of the chats, somebody saying, there's a shortage of petrol in Mombasa. And the other day, Abby was like, there was a shortage of petrol in Kilifi. And I was just thinking to myself, so I was almost panicking. I was almost like, okay, get out, go in. And then I said, no, I'm not going to do that. And one of the ladies asked, so what if we go and put petrol and then tomorrow the price is lower? Another one made a joke and said, hey, we will return their petrol to them. So what is that? It's really bringing humor into this thing and really diffusing the potency of that kind of fear that would come with this thing. Because then we realize that we enter into reactive mode when we are fearful. We now are not proactive, but we are reactive. Fear will make you just react. You find that fight, freeze, the mode. You're either fighting, you're either freezing, yeah. So, or you're there busy, really just manifesting that attribute that is in you, that is wrong, that shouldn't be a part of you. So what that ideally means is that you as an individual have to always be so conscious of the fact that this that is in your life, this that is in you as an entity, as a person, are things that you can overcome. You need to be able to overcome. You need to be able to stop. You need to be able to curtail. You need to, you need to be able to tell yourself that, look, I am coming out of this. This is not going to have any part in me. This is not going to have this has nothing to do with me. And then you as an individual now proactively walk in the light. So you walk in the light by beginning to identify that I need to stop. I need to quit going around the vicious cycle, because then fear will cause you to react. So how are you reacting? You're reacting by waking up and going ahead and doing that which your fear is telling you. Fear is telling you, petrol is going to, we're going to have a shortage of petrol. So we're going to have a shortage of petrol. What has happened? You now decide, oh my God, I'm going to buy all the petrol. I'm going to make sure I do this, I do that, I do the other. When in actual sense, you can just stop and tell yourself no, and begin to positively create, begin to bring forth that which you desire to see, begin to bring forth that which you are able to control as much as it is within your ability. You take charge of that which is in between, it is within your ability. What is within you to control, do it. What is not within you to control, shelve it. Don't gravitate towards it in negativity. Handle what you are able to handle. What you're not able to handle, leave it. What you're not able to do, leave it. What you cannot be able to finalize on, or you exhaustively finish, leave it. Leave it, leave it, leave it. But as human beings, we get so caught up by doing what? By really just going further and doing all these things that we want to do, because we like being in charge, we like being in control, we like being the ones that are there in this thing that we are holding. When in essence, we are forgetting that we are doing it wrongly. This shouldn't be the way that we should do it. We should consider what other thing we can do. So one thing that we need to work on in this year, in this 2022, is just to really deal with fear, because it is an uncanny ability to just drape itself, and it drapes itself around us and upon us. How does it do that? Through anxiety. You find that you are anxious. You find that you are just, you are so anxious, you get stressed out over things that really are so irrelevant, because we as individuals have that ability within us. Remember, when you get fearful, there is now there's that we keep on saying either your flight or there's freeze, so adrenaline will make you to either run, or adrenaline will make you to stop and not do anything because you're scared. So we as human beings have to realize that we have rational fear. And sometimes, what is rational fear? Rational fear is what is that which kicks into your life when there's imminent danger. Because yes, it's okay for us to it would be important for us not to just generalize about fear, but to also put things into perspective. What do we mean by that? What do I mean by that? I mean that we shouldn't generalize and just think, no, fear is bad. Fear can be good. Fear can save you. What do I mean by that? In the event there's imminent danger, for example, you've been told that there is a lion lacking somewhere. uh, I live in the middle of the bush. If, say, I'm coming home, the other day there was a baboon that was misbehaving. Say I'm coming home, and every time, one thing that I was privileged to experience is that when I'm coming, either the baboon will come and will come to the compound when I've left, and it's that big old baboon. I think either it has been run out of the pride or the park or something. So I will either come when it has already been, and it normally goes to the garage, the carport where I park the car, and it sits there. So it will either come when I've already gone, or when I've gone, it will, or I'll come when it has already gone. And so the workers kept on asking me, how come it is? I said, because if there's anything I have so intentionally said is that we will not meet. It will not find me here, or if it comes when I'm inside the house. So if there's imminent danger, then you find yourself fearing. At that point, that is rational fear. Rational fear is what will help you to just, it's a primal fear. It's something that is just natural, yeah, that rises in you, that will propel you as an individual to just enter into flight mode. You want to run, you want to get into safety. That's healthy. That's good. Yeah, that's healthy and that's good. So when you feel that corresponding adrenaline really just pumping into you, then you need to be able to understand that there is genuine danger, and there's genuine danger. And because there is genuine danger, what do you need to do? You need to be able to awaken and just run for your life. So that's not the time that you as an individual stands there and then starts saying, no, I am this, what, that's the other. No. Understand that that is rational fear, that's primal fear, and that's very healthy to have, and it is totally acceptable. So that which is, it is a natural fear that has been put within us by divinity, by this divine entity. Yeah, it is part of who we are as a human being, the function. You will sense danger. Sometimes you will sit, and if you're in a bad place, you will sense it. You will sense, no, here. Your sixth sense in you, or the innate being in you that is connected to this, I say emotions are the ones that help us to really um understand. So if you feel a fear at that point, yeah, then you need to be able to listen to that sixth sense. And you as an individual has to appreciate that that natural fear, yeah, can be manipulated in us in one way or another. So yours is to understand that with you as an individual, your brain is coded. It is coded with these fears. And any situation that ignites the same will cause you to respond accordingly. Yeah, there will be a corresponding reaction within you that is natural, because your brain has those codes. You have those neurotical paths that are created in your brain that light up the minute there's a corresponding action or something. It lights up your brain, and when lights up your brain, then you find that it sends out messages. Now it's time to run, 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 run. So it will require a corresponding reaction, because your brain is just naturally attuned to the same. Your brain your sixth sense, your brain, your emotional system, which is your inner guidance system, will just kick in, and then it will cause you to just run if it's running, or it will cause you to lock yourself in the house if it's locking yourself in the house. But these are the fears that we experience, yeah, at that point that we are in the place of imminent danger. They elicit a fear in us that are based on the primal fear. So, and then on the other end, um, there's that which we can say is irrational fear. What is that? Irrational fear is that which is unwarranted. It's that which is, you know, it doesn't have any logical sense whatsoever. You are just scared. You're scared of the dark. Why are you scared of the dark? Why are you scared of going out? You know, you're scared. This is a place where you can go out. You're just scared. You just, this thing, it's so irrational. If somebody asks you, what exactly are you fearing? No. Why exactly are you fearing to go out? You're fearing that maybe if I go out, if I talk, maybe people will laugh at me. Maybe people will not find me relevant. Maybe people will think of me. That is irrational. It is irrational because, yeah, they really do not make any logical sense. Nobody has said that what it is that you're doing, that it will be wrong. No. But you may be scared, for example, of getting hit by a car each time you cross the road. Can you imagine getting upset, no, getting so scared that now you refuse to cross the road? Every other time, you're just afraid that if I get out of here, if I'm gonna cross the road, if I'm gonna get into a car, I'm gonna get into an accident, if I'm gonna do this, if I'm gonna do that, So the fear of getting hurt and the pain of it all, will cause you to just refuse to embrace a path that would ideally be um, beneficial to you. The other day, I like giving examples because as a transformational life coach, I say that we get learnings every other day in our day-to-day living. We were discussing with one of my helps at home, and I was teaching her about the power of the mind and the thoughts, and the not only the thoughts now, these thoughts that we bring life to by declaring. And so she said she was able to relate to what I was thinking. I was just trying to expound how we need to be mindful of what it is that we say. First of all, the consciousness, our conscious mind, and not only that, understanding that the subconscious is there, but whatever it is that is going on as an underlying issue subconsciously will always find a way to come forth into the conscious and into our atmosphere through the words that we speak. And as I was talking to her, she says that in their home area, there's this particular family where there's this guy who loved reading. He was very, very intelligent, and he would love going to this place next to the water that has apparently a dam or something. And he would leave the house and then go there and sit and then read his books. But his mother would keep on sending people every other time. Go and check him. Go and check him out. Just make sure he's okay. Oh, I don't want him to throw himself in the dam. Oh, go and check him out. I don't want him. Do you know that thing went on for so many years until one day, you know, they went, and the boy would say, Mama, stop that. I just love that place. It's cool. I just love that place. The water really just comforts me. It's a nice place for me to read. It's a nice place for me to get in tune with myself and stop getting fearful. But every other time when the mother, even when he would come out from now Mombasa, or to go back there, every other time the mother would say that. And then one day the mother comes home and looks for him, and then the first thing she says is go and check him. And true, the guy had jumped into the dam. So we create these things, we give them life, we give them expression. They operate from our subconscious, and then we actively bring them to fall in our conscious mind by thinking. And then as we are bringing them into our conscious mind, we now give them a path of expression by breathing life into them because of the words that we speak. And so when you speak that fear, the more you are speaking it, the more you are energizing it. The more you're giving life into it, you're breathing life into it. And as you are breathing life into it, just like um, the the waters will keep on evaporating, evaporating. Once the clouds have gathered, one day it will come back to you, and then it will manifest in life. So when you think it, whether you're thinking positive things or negative things, if you think it, you bring an emotion into it, and then you focus into it, you delve deeply into it. Ultimately, what will happen is that you will manifest the same. So we need to be able to stop. And all of us have diverse fears. We have the fears of getting hurt because of the relationships. We have the fear of rejection because of where we've been. We have the fear of not being good enough. We have the fear of not being worthy. We have the fear that just comes, um, of rejection. You're thinking, you're of lack of achievement, of all these things that we allow to just crowd us. But what we must do as individuals is to stop bringing them, giving them life. Yeah, we should stop bringing them life. And how do we stop doing that? As I've said, as much as it might be there in your subconscious, you have to fight some things. You have to fight the minute you realize that that negative thought is coming. Stop pausing and focusing on it, because the more you water it, it's like a garden. The more you water it, you will eat the fruit thereof. It will grow. It will grow. It will keep on growing. And as it keeps on growing, it is going to come and bring forth a harvest. It's going to come and give forth a fruit. And you will eat. You will eat. You will enjoy the fruits that you have been able to bring. So fear will stop us. Fear will stagnate us. Fear will hold us bondage. And it will cause us to just be held to our past. Yeah, sometimes we are held to our past, the mistakes of yesterday. We are we are there. We refuse to move on. We have the fear of moving on, that you have blundered, and every man has a story. But I keep on telling people that the only difference is who gets to read the narrative, who gets to develop the narrative. You need to be able to develop your own narrative concerning your own life and where it is that you've been, and not allow yourself to be limited to yesterday. So fear can stop us, fear can stagnate us. Fear can really hold us bondage. It can hold us to our yesterday. It can cause us not to move on and take on the necessary risks to embrace our tomorrow. Fear, by the way, therefore, can just be as a free prison, and it's a prison in your mind. You know, it can be it can be a spiritual prison. We've seen people in cults. We've seen people bound in religion. We've seen people bound in culture, retrogressive culture. We've seen people bound in bad attitudes, bad behavior. They're just bound in thing because it's so familiar. You do not want to, you fear taking that risk of now moving into the life that you want. Yeah. And so because of that, you're in this bondage, you're in this prison. So whether it's a prison that is spiritual, as I've said, whether it's a prison that is mental because of the negative thoughts, whether it's a prison that is emotional because of the emotions that we keep on having within us, or whether it is a prison that is physical. You refuse to move out of a place, you refuse to move out of circles, particular circles. They're not adding any value to you. But you know, you'd rather stay with that which is familiar than step out into the unknown. You cannot walk on water until you step out of the boat. You cannot be able to swim until you get out of the boat. Even if it means getting on a life jacket, get on a life jacket and start, begin swimming and begin going. So fear, as we have said, it will just keep on limiting us. It will withhold us. It will restrain us. We will be in this place that is our comfort zone, and that comfort zone is so expensive. It's so costly, especially when you're thinking of the prospects of who we are, who you are, who I am. There's so much more there. There's so much more out there. There's greater out there. But while we begin to define what is or what isn't, which is just basically a figment of our mind, then we really, really, really limit ourselves. So we need to be able to just grow ourselves to be intentional in grounding ourselves in knowing and understanding just what type of fear it is that drives us. What fear is it that drives you? What fear is it that drives me? Unless you know, because fear is an enemy, and the whole essence of understanding what your enemy is all about is to understand who your enemy is. Unless you know who your enemy is, you cannot be able to understand what it is that you need to do to fight your enemy. And not only just fight your enemy, win that war. And not only winning that war, but ensuring that this enemy is kept out. So for as long as you and I will not be grounded in knowing, in understanding just what it is that first of all limits us as individuals when it comes to fear, then our actions will always be the same. It will be a vicious cycle that never seems to end. So begin to identify it and then begin to expose yourself to your deepest fear. Yeah, you need to be able to just expose yourself. What do I mean by exposing yourself? Exposing yourself means, now the way I'm saying, you're like, so you are so scared of crossing the road. Wake up tomorrow, go and try and cross the road. First of all, if you need to be able to have somebody hold your hand and walk you through the road, have somebody. What are you doing? Exposing yourself to your fear. You're exposing yourself to that which is deeply entrenched within you, that so that you can be able to take a step boldly. Yeah, take a step boldly and just face your fear. Face your fear. When you face your fear, you actually realize that the hold it has on over you ceases. It stops being, because by identifying and facing your fear, you get to be like the bird that is removing the latch. You remove the latch, you open the bird's cage, and you're the bird that has been in this cage called fear. But that is the day when you begin to identify just what your fear is, when you expose yourself to it, when you embrace it, when you just begin to challenge it, you realize that like a bird that was apparently held hostage in this pen, you can remove the latch, you can open your cage, you can open the door, and then you can begin to set yourself free from that bondage that is so limited, that is causing you not to fly into the levels of opportunities that are there. So the knowledge and understanding will always open you up to many more possibilities of attaining the success you want in your life. But it just doesn't happen, guys. It begins with you feeling the fear, but purposing to do it anyway. These things can be overcome. These things cannot be able to take control of you unless you let them. These things cannot limit you unless you allow them to take that place that they don't belong in that place. Don't give them that space. Be intentional in really just arising out of the bondage that you have put yourself. Please note, I am saying you have put yourself in that cage, and the one that has the key that will help you to be delivered or released from that bondage is yourself. So please remember, guys, fear is false evidence appearing real. No matter what it is that you're feeling, it is just false evidence appearing real. It's just evidence that is false. Like the way we have been on this journey, we are realizing, as we are uncovering so much about our spirituality, we are realizing that some of those things that we held to be so true, they are non-existent. They were appearing real, and even as they were appearing real, they are non-existent. So fear stands as that which is imaginary. It's an illusion, yeah, that is busy because of the space you're giving it. It makes you think that it is so real. It actually shows you the way, it proves to you that it's so real. It will speak to you. Fear has a voice. It will speak to you. But why does it speak to us? Why does fear speak to you? Why is it that when you give it a place to have it's like a monster. Fear is like a monster. It will keep on taking charge and controlling you until now it becomes the one that is your master. When fear is ruling you, woe unto you. So fear stands as it's imaginary. It doesn't exist. It's just an illusion. But it loves presenting itself that it's real. So it will incapacitate you from doing that which always turns out to be doable. By the way, when you look back upon your life and the things that you've done that you are so fearful of, you realize that, oh my God, so nilikuwa naogopa nini? What was I scared about? Yeah. What was I scared about? I should have done this a long time ago. Oh my goodness, look at how much time I've wasted. Why? Because of the fear that you embraced negatively. Instead of using it positively to develop yourself, instead of using it objectively to be able to instill with you particular disciplines that will cause you to be a masterpiece, a master worker in all that you are able to do based on your giftings, then you limit yourself. So fear um, will always remain to be your absolute enemy when it comes to you breaking out of your comfort zone. All of us have a comfort zone. All of us have those familiar zones. Yeah, we have those places that we're so comfortable with. I would much rather stay here than challenge myself to go on the deep end. Why? Because I know in the shallow end, this is a place that I can just jump like this and I can get to the edge of the pool and not have to follow. But then there are uncharted parts where there's learning, where there's growth, where there's progress that abounds beyond our comfort zone, beyond our familiar paths, beyond that which we are accustomed to. So you need to be able to just ensure that the parts that we keep that are so familiar, you know, that we are thinking that are so true to us, yeah, we have to realize that as we're doing that, you realize that you keep on exhibiting different personalities in you, yeah, to help you to manage, to ensure that you are managing. So how do you manage? Because fear, you try to manage fear. You, instead of dealing with it, you're managing it. Instead of dealing with this addiction, you're managing it. How do you do that? Then you realize that you enter into this reaction mode. You enter into this place where you embrace different personalities. What are these personalities that you're embracing? I talked about fight mode. You find that when somebody is fearful, we've seen marriages where a man doesn't want to lose his wife. Because he doesn't want to lose his wife, if his wife goes out, goes to a place, he makes a mistake to go to a place where she didn't clock in with him, because of his insecurities, because of his fear of losing her, what happens? You find that this guy will beat her up. That's fear, right? Fear will make you enter into flight mode, you know. Flight mode is when you as an individual, you're just there, you are running. Kitu kidogo ikifanyika, pop, you've already gone. You don't even know whether there's even cause to be fighting, yeah, or you already there's cause to be fighting, you will run. That is flight mode. Some people enter into freeze mode. As a freeze mode, you as an individual, you find that you lack the ability to move. Even when the lion is coming, you're not moving. You're still at that point of, should I run, should I not run, should I run, should I not run? Already the indecision because of fear is already as his decision, because while you're there still thinking, should I run, should I not run, should I run, should I not run, and yet you're doing nothing. Guess what? You've already made a decision. So you have to continually understand your reactions. Yeah, what are your reactions when it comes to self-preservation? Which mode do you take? Which mode do you take? Yeah, which mode do you take? Because all of us take a particular mode. And then we understand ourselves. I was telling somebody that personal development doesn't end. And I justify the work that I do with people. Personal development doesn't end. You have to continually, because we haven't reached the path of perfection. We haven't reached the places where you and I um, are really the individuals that we were created to be. But for as long as you and I, as individuals, would want to be on self-preservation mode purely out of fear, then we will never grow. We will never grow. So fear will cause you to embrace different how do I say it, different attributes or different personalities. Sometimes you find that because you fear, you become the habitual stickler of rules. You stick to rules. You find it so comfortable to stick to the script. That person that would much rather, when you're told to do XYZW, you always do XYZW, when in actual sense you'd have added ABCD, and it would have made much more better, uh, given you a much better outcome. But you're that person that is such a strict rule follower. You follow everything to the letter. That's just an attribute of fear. Yeah, sometimes you find that we are people pleasers because we refuse or we get scared of breaking out of the norm. We become accustomed to being yes people. Yes people will never ever go against anybody else's wishes, even when it is costly to you. We take on the savior mentality where we want to burn ourselves so that everybody else can catch fire. You're the one that would rather maintain a status quo than break ranks. Yeah? You would rather be there looking like you're the one that is always saying yes. You have a problem. That is fear. Procrastination. We find that people who are habitually, this is something that I also have struggled with, and even until today, I really have to be so intentional about my activities. I can really procrastinate. So that's an area that even me, as a transformational life coach, that is something that I imagine work on, because then you find you put off for tomorrow what you can do today. You would not want to get it into the nitty gritty of doing it. We make excuses. Yeah, we make excuses, we give excuses, we justify ourselves. We suffer from excusitis, always giving excuses. We justify why we didn't do it. We refuse to take responsibility. That's just an aspect or a sign of fear as an individual. Sometimes we doubt too much, you know. We doubt ourselves. We don't believe in ourselves. We don't believe in our ability to be able to do what it is that we need to do. Sometimes we find that we don't belong. We don't have a sense of belonging. Even when it comes to a place, you can go to a place amongst the people. You're not part of them. You're just there lurking in the shadows. You'd rather be a loner. You'd rather be a lone ranger. Not because that is where you find fulfillment, but basically because you as an individual does what? You prefer, you're fearful, so you would rather be a person who is there as an outcast. Oh, that's the pessimist. You're so pessimistic. You never see anything good in anyone. Always criticizing. Critical. You cannot be a creator and you're a critic. It doesn't go together. It doesn't flow. You cannot be the one that will always be bashing people, this, that, the other. That's a critic. A critic cannot be a creator. A creator brings to fore that which is within them, that is positive. They manifest that which is good within them. But if you're always the one that will be waking up and really just always going to the contrary, bashing people, saying this, that, the other, it cannot happen. So it's just time for us to be able to face our fear. Yeah, we need to break the hold that it has over us. You and I stand the risk of stagnancy. You realize that year in, year out, you're just at that place. Oh, year in, year out, nothing has changed. Year in, year out, status quo. Year in, year out, lack of fulfillment. Then you get resentment. You get to experience resentment to those people who are going out, pursuing their dreams, following their vision, accomplishing that which they want to accomplish. You're resentful. Why? Not because you don't get any opportunities, but simply because you as an individual has refused to make the decision to just embrace the personality of who you are, the person that you truly are, because you fed into the lie that that fear has fed into you. So I would stop there so that I also let the others. At least I've done enough warming, isn't it, Senior? Yeah. I can see Kamau is
Yeah,
here.
yes, Kamau is here.
Yeah,
We
so
welcome him, and I welcome all other people who have come: Purity Candy, Paula Kinyua, Lois, Anna, Jacqueline, Mugecha, Regina. I appreciate you all. And it's all about learn, teach, and teach, learn. So we are just learning from one another. And I would like to pick up from where Sheila had reached, just to expound this aspect of fear in a deeper sense. First, I will say that fear itself is what darkness is. Because as the other time we said that darkness is passive and has got no energy by itself. And fear also is passive because it does not exist. No one can fear anything in the present moment. Something could be happening now, but what you are fearing is what is going to come out of that thing. But fear has never existed. It's not something which has been identified as this is fear. It's like darkness. It's not something which you can say, this is darkness. I can take this darkness and put it in a container and light a bright room with darkness. So fear actually fear. I can say it is a state of forgetfulness. It is a state of forgetfulness of the love of God. Like there in the beginning there was love, and it went light and darkness. And like let us first take it from the scriptures, like where God said, "Let there be light." You know that first what He said to be, He said, "Let there be light," but He never said anything about "Let there be darkness" too, because darkness is created by light. If light wasn't there, even that darkness could not be darkness, because something to have an identity, it has to have an opposite of it. So in the beginning, there was, let there be light, and there was light. And this light separated into two. So that's why I'm saying that that fear is just the forgetfulness, is that part of God, but which has forgotten itself, or which is denying itself. And in real sense, it does not exist. It does not exist because no one has ever feared something of yesterday or something of today. They are fearing, what they are fearing is always something ahead of them, even if it is the next minute, the next second. Fear is a perception. It is a perception. What you just need to perceive some negative outcome of an aspect, then you have created fear. And like initially, the other time I shared that nothing, nothing has an identity. Nothing has come to our experience with an identity, especially situations. They are never presenting to ourselves with a certain identity. It is us, through the projection or the perception of that fear, where we we judge the situation and we give it an identity. We judge it and we give it an identity. And whatever you judge, it judges you back. Why is it judging you back? Because it is not separate with you. It has never been separate with you. Even that fear itself. Yes, there is light and darkness, but there is no separation because all is God. And when we put that, we actually, fear is what brings separation. That fear, it separates you with the other side of God. And the kingdom is the totality and fullness of what God is. So fear to me does not exist. It is a state of forgetfulness. It is a state of disconnection. It is a state of denial. Because when you approach something with fear, you separate from it because you will always be running away from it. When you separate from it, you deny it, not knowing that all is God. You have denied God. It is as where there is fear, it is always an aspect of disconnection with Spirit of God within or disconnection with the universe, because the totality of the universe, like God is the whole universe, all is within God. So the totality of the kingdom is everything within the universe, because in this universe, there are those things which are negative and those things which are positive, but all are in the universe. So upon judging and denying that, you have denied God. You have disconnected from God. You have disconnected from the Spirit of God within. In real sense, it does not exist. It is just a shadow. Fear is a shadow. When light is shone upon it, it disappears. Light and fear is darkness. And at the same time, the same darkness is what a shadow is. You can never shine darkness upon light. There is nowhere in the world I have seen a torch which, when you want darkness or light, which can create darkness, like, hey, let us create a technology which can bring darkness, and when the other town, they are in daytime, here it is dark. No one. Because it does not exist. It is just but absence of light, state of forgetfulness, something which does not exist. Forgetful, even the word forget does not exist. Does not exist, because what we call as God lacks nothing. It's infinite, lacks nothing. And all is within himself. Lacks nothing. And if we are one with that, number one, we will walk with the knowing that I am in the state of completeness and fullness. When you are in the state of completeness and fullness, do you expect something from outside of you? You expect nothing at all. From outside of you, you expect nothing, because you are in the state of completeness. completion and is the state of fullness, because that is who God is. That is what your real self is, your true self, in the state of completeness. And when you are in this state of completeness, what comes next? What comes next is always the absence of desire. That which Sheila was just talking about, the absence of desire. And this is what desire is. Desire is always expectation. What you expectations is what desires are. And what is that which has expectation? That which is not complete and that which is not full. So when you are walking in fear and where you are presented by a situation, or what you expected is not what you are being presented with, now you fall into fear. You have you have disconnected from the Spirit of God. You have disconnected from God itself, because at that moment when you are already not satisfied by what you have been presented with, you, you are already walking in the state of not being in fullness and completeness. That's why you're expecting this to be that and that to be this. It's a state of forgetfulness of who we really are. Because our pure true essence, our true nature, is that which is not defined by anything outside of your body, is not connected. Your true self is that which is just in this body vessel, expressing and experiencing. But it is not attached to what is outside of it. Why? Because all that which is outside of it is one with the all of them. No separation. Everything that your true self knows that your experiences outwards, either crazy relationships, crazy financials, whatever negative, whatever good, it knows it is all that. It knows there is no separation. It is all that. So what is it doing? It is just in awareness, experiencing, and if called forth, to express itself on whatever situation is presented outside, so that it can turn it around for the highest good. The reason why your true self within does not knows that it is all with everything is because it lacks nothing. It is all with it. It has no expectations. It has no desires. So without expectations and desires, fear will always be non-existence. Because fear is just a perception of what you don't want. Yeah, we are just fixed to what we are not wanting. That is fear. There's nothing else. Focusing on what we do not want. What we do not want. That is fear. Denying fear is denying God. Because that which you do not want has no separation with God, has no separation with yourself. It is one with you. So when you don't want, you are focused on not wanting that, then that which you don't want is that you is the divine which you have denied. That is what fear is. And this is what has actually made this planet to be a crazy place like this, because the whole turmoils in this planet are brought about because of lies. Lies. Do you know why lies come? Let me ask you one thing. And if I will be wrong, someone correct me. Any one of you think of your last lie you told, even if you became holy, an angel 30 years ago. Just remember which the last lie you can remember. Tell me if you lied. If you did not lie because of fear, tell me what did you lie because of? If someone has got any other reason which made them lie in any instance, it is always because of fear. And when you become of fear, what do you become? You get disconnected because you denied yourself. Then you become what you are not. Now, being what you are not, being not truthful, you start to lie. And these lies, which we have been all taught, even in religions, even by whoever is leading the governments and this and that, all this what we have been taught is because they fear. Let us give them lies. Let us feed them with lies in schools, lies in religions, lies in their news, lies in their music, lies everywhere, because they are afraid. Because they sit and know, if we do not lie to them and they know the truth, our time will be up. It is because always of fear one lies. And that fear is just the forgetfulness of who you are, who your true nature is. The word nature comes from natural. Something natural is not defined by anything. It is in the state of being natural. Your state of being is not your physical body. Your highest state of being is never your physical body. Your highest state of being is that I. The other day, I remember we had a talk with the Sheila, and we were saying, who is this I? Because it seems that this I is very elusive. And we have never known that whoever gave us language and whoever is doing whatever manipulations they are doing, they are feeding you with lies, deceiving you. At the same time, they are giving you answers on your faces, on plain sight. Hey, we are lying to you here, and this is the truth here. They are clearing their karma. Let me tell you, whatever you are calling what names, they are cleared of their karmas. Because when they deceive you, they always give you something else to tell you, hey, wake up. That is the deception, but the truth is this one. They gave us this language, I am. I am. And our schools teach us that when you say I am, it's me, I am Salim, I am this, by this identity. I am a manager. I am a Christian. I am cheerful. I am this. I am my cars, my houses, the physicality. This is what they taught us, that this is who you are, guys. When you say I am a lawyer, I'm a manager, I am a millionaire, I am this is who you are. But in really sense, they were just hiding to you that when that I which you always proclaim, people, that I which you always proclaim, people, listen to me. That I which you always proclaim every moment, it is that real, true self, the I. They told you this I is about your profession, is about your wealth, is about your religion, the things you can perceive by your physical eyes, but they did not tell you that this I. And at the same time, they were telling you, hey, this I is that really your true self. That is why it is very, very elusive. Many people have defined the word I, or they have taken that the I to be the physical. The I is not defined by anything outside. It is in the state of awareness, experiencing what is happening outside. Let me tell you guys, there is no negative experience. There is no one who is not in alignment. Everyone is aligned to all experiences they are experiencing. There is no devil, there is no Satan, there is no evil spirit, there is no imbalance in energies, there is nothing. Everyone is in tune. Everyone is in alignment to their own vibrations. There is no negative entities. Everyone is in tune to their vibration. Everyone is experiencing their own energy level. Everyone is experiencing who they are. And if you invite evil entities into your experience, trust me, they shall be there, because that which is in you is much grander than you have been taught. That I, in the state of awareness, it it has been elusive because we have been told to focus on the outward, on everything. My religion, this is what my book says. Outside that book, nothing exists. Let me tell you one thing, no matter how holy a religious scripture is, no matter how holy it is in physicality. It is in flesh, in material, because you have perceived it only within your own 5 physical senses. Nothing telepathic or energetical you have experienced from there. If you read the Bible, your eyes it's just a reflection of your eyes. You are just experiencing the reflections you are retina. If you read it and heard it, your ears just read frequencies. And to translate that from the brain is the mind, to say, wow, this verse says this and this and this. But nothing is external. That's why we fall into fear, because we are stuck to the flesh. We are stuck to the physicality. What is going to happen to me tomorrow? So after this, what comes next? Now, this job, how will it be at the end of the month? How am I going to pay the rent? How? Why? State of incompleteness in fullness. And that is the state of the real and true self, the I. When you say I am. When the Bible says that thou shalt not use the name of thy God in vain, this is what it means. I am is the name of your true essence. Using the word of your Lord God in vain is when you take any negative attribute and put it after the name of God, I am. When you use the name of God in vain by putting a negative aspect after that name, this commandment says this, and whosoever does that shall be held guiltless. How will you be held guiltless? The same negative attribute you have put after the name of God shall be delivered unto you, so that you become guiltless. No more judgment. You did this, you did this. I am broke. I'm always sick. I am always that negative aspect. I am always negative that aspect. Out of what? Out of fear. Fear of that unknown, of that negative aspect. Because you are projecting and creating a situation in your future timeline. It does not exist, but tomorrow, how am I going to, how you are just creating, this is the, how am I going to pay this at the end of the month? Maybe it is going to be like this, fear, negativity, pumping everything. It is going to be like situations comes from the word situate. You are already situating something, locating something somewhere in the future timeline, that this is, I have located, I have situated it in this timeline, this location at this day. When it reaches at the time and the hour and the second, I experience that. And then it becomes that. And then it becomes that. Yes, Dr. Abba Bishops, how are you?
So sorry. I just came back from work and
Yeah.
I was literally running. Yeah, I things actually didn't go the way I anticipated today. So I was literally running back home to catch up with the Zoom meeting. So I really want to apologize to you, sir. I apologize to everybody, Dr. Sheila. I'm so sorry. I just joined in. I just came back home and I just decided to join. So sorry for the delay. And sorry for the guest speaker is supposed to be here and it's just coming. So sorry.
Yes. So I think as you have come, we had earlier
Yes,
started
sir.
talking. You are supposed to be talking about fear
It's okay,
today.
no problem.
So
Yes, sir.
to cover up that time before you come, Dr. Sheila spoke and I spoke, and luckily enough you came. So I will hand over this mantle to you so that you take it over. Then me, I
Okay.
will be adding here and there anywhere. When you call me up, you call upon,
All
I
right.
just put some few
Okay. All right.
things here and there. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. My name is Bishops Abba from Nigeria. Sorry for keeping you guys waiting. And Dr. Sheila, thank you for standing in for me. I will make sure I send my tithe and offering, my honorarium. Thank you very much.
Continue.
I've celebrated the tithe and offering in
So
advance.
we're actually
Shocked.
discussing about fear, and Hello? All right, doctor, thank you. So I expect my honorarium. Okay. So I was actually meditating on the concept of fear, the root of fear, and the extent to which it has spread its tentacles into our consciousness as individuals.
Hello?
And I was actually making a little research into and I came across some very interesting facts. You see, basically, I want us to understand that when in our creation as individuals or our manifestations on this earth, we were not originally creatures of fear. There was practically zero reason for us to experience fear. And originally, the emotion of fear was not what it is today. The word there is what yira. And the word yira is what awe, as an AWE, to be in awe of the greatness, the beauty, and the majesty of ourselves. Is to be in awe of the greatness, the beauty, and the majesty of the spirit that bettered us, the spirit from which we emanated, or the spirit that is life streaming us, because we are the life streamings of the spirit of God, or the spirit God that we love, we serve, and we've attained oneness with. You understand? So the original concept of fear was awe. It's like what a reverential admiration, to admire the greatness, that is to be overwhelmed by the sheer beauty of a thing. So fear actually originally is something positive. It's not actually a negative thing. You understand? It's something positive. You understand? You see, it's important because you see, whether you like it or not, all of us have the proclivity to exercise fear. But I don't want to look at fear today just from the negative part alone. I want us to see how we can redeem the beautiful aspect of fear. There's something in the emotion of fear that we can redeem. It's actually a beautiful thing. When you see a wonderful apparition or a wonderful sight, that wow, that awe, that exclamation, wow, that reverential admiration, that reverential adoration that makes you are like encapsulated, you're captured by the beauty, the sheer majesty of a thing. Now, number one, there are two. The concept of fear is directed towards two things. Number one, towards ourselves. You see, like you are in awe of the beauty of who you are in your oneness with God. It's a celebration of oneness. It's a celebration of praise of oneness. So originally, the concept of fear was not a negative thing, but actually at the point it became something negative. And when did this fear become something negative? The point at which we started entertaining the concept of separation from the infinite, the moment at which we started entertaining the concept of duality. Because you see, the moment you entertain separation, you immediately become conscious of your inadequacies, number one. And number two, you become conscious of the natural or your physicality, and you lose sense of the beauty, the glory, the dignity that is you within. And we see the negative use of fear is the fact that, you see, when Apostle Saleem was saying something, he said, learn to put your attention on the inside, because the beauty, the glory, the wonderfulness of who you are is from within you. Is from within you. The majesty of who you are is from within. When you put your eyes on physicalities to gain validation, that is where the fear comes from, because everything around you is inadequate. That which makes you adequate, it's within you. So it's actually what a shift of focus from the beauty of our oneness with spirit. It's actually a shift of focus from the majesty of who we are. When we begin to actually pay attention to our limitation, and that is a negative aspect of fear. So at the root of fear is actually the concept or the acceptance of separation from the source or from the infinite. And I believe that what the for us to bring about what redemption and healing towards that aspect, we must actually begin to through meditation, through realization, through everything possible that we can do to actually what align or come into an agreement or an acceptance of what our union with God. And I want us to understand something. You see, union is not something you attain. It's not something you achieve. It is not achieved. It is already your current present tense reality. It's already a reality. But you see, you come into a realization of it. The good books, the Holy Scripture says, it says, my people perish for the lack of knowledge, accurate knowledge, or the knowing of who they truly are. And when Jesus came, he said something. He said, you shall know the truth. The truth there is what? Reality. He said, you shall come into the knowledge of reality. And what is the reality? Our union with God, our oneness with divinity, the perfection in us. You see, we are perfect in all ramifications. We are 100% holy as spirit is holy. We are 100% righteous. We are 100% redeemed. We are 100% saved. So we are not in need of salvation. We are 100% delivered. In our oneness, we've already attained total freedom and liberty. But you see, when we begin to entertain lies and falsehood in our mind, the mind actually should circuit us from the reality of the spirit that is within us. Because the mind is a powerful tool. And that is why the Bible also says that we attain transfiguration through the renewing of our mind. Oh my goodness. You see, the more we renew our mind and we begin to behold who we are, just like Saleem was teaching us, like I've known so many truths. I've dabbled into Buddhism, Hinduism, Taoism, all the isms and the isms, and I recalibrated back to Christianity as my fundamentals. But you see, in all the books I've read, there's something. The pieces didn't come together until when I met Saleem. Now, I'm not saying this to mollycoddle his ego, and neither am I saying this thing just to shower encomiums on him. No, that's not it. But it's just like, just like how you have bits and pieces of information, you're trying to unite them. It's not really making sense. But the first day I spoke to him, everything made sense. Everything made sense. It's like questions that have been there for years suddenly was answered. You understand? It just made sense. At the heart of all the fantabulous, strange and weird things Dr. Saleem teaches, you see, if you actually want to benefit from Apostle Saleem, just make sure that you don't get carried away on all those grandiloquence of revelations. Just because you see, anytime I listen to him, I remember what Peter said. Peter said, by virtue of the multitude of revelation that was given to Paul, that many people, not understanding what he's saying, interpret it to their damnation and destruction. So, definitely you have questions when God is leading you to a new path. But there's something Dr. Sheila, my friend, usually said. She said, it's a journey, it's a journey, it's a journey. So just don't be in a haste to draw conclusions. Just make sure you enjoy the ride. You understand? Enjoy the ride. But make sure that everything comes to one thing, the understanding of the fact that I am the Christ, and the Christ is me. And the I that I usually attribute to myself, it's not the natural self that is the I. The I that I attribute to myself is the divine self. That is the summary of everything Dr. Saleem is teaching. And actually, you see, the knowledge and the understanding of this is actually the number one cure to fear. The moment, you see, for example now, God cannot be afraid. God has nothing to be afraid of. God cannot run into lack tomorrow. His bank account, if he is to have an account, cannot run dry. If, for example, now God is not afraid of a terrorist coming to detonate a bomb in heaven. So God has zero needs. And in the place of union, needs do not exist. Needs is a fallen human experience. It's not a divine experience. And ladies and gentlemen, we are divine. And the more we awaken into our divinity, we will become conscious of the fact that there is zero need. What are the basic things that makes us fear? The fear of tomorrow, the uncertainty of what the future holds. God has no fear of the future. Why? Because he does not, even though he controls time, he operates in time, he's not time bound. And I need you to understand that man is not a time bound being. You were in existence before you were formed in your mother's womb. That was why he told Jeremiah that before you were conceived in your mama's womb, I knew you. The word knew there is what is a Hebrew yada, which means I have what? An intimate. I was actually intimately engaged with you. I had an intimate interaction with you. I was in a consistent, continuous interaction with you even before you were conceived in your mother's womb. I had sweet fellowship. It actually connotes something pleasurable, a pleasurable interaction between two equals, a pleasurable interaction. You see, intimacy flows from the place of oneness, not from the place of duality. One of the problems we have in Christianity is that we are trying to practice intimacy from the place of separation. But you see, there's nothing wrong if you practice intimacy from the place of oneness. Now, in the practice of intimacy, it's just like how, let's assume I bought you maybe the most recent version of the iPhone. Now, you need time to familiarize yourself with that stuff. So whenever we're praying, we're fasting, we're meditating, we're actually trying to familiarize ourselves with oneness, with divinity. So we are exercising, we are explaining, you are helping people, because I need us to understand that this truth we are hearing is not just so that we can bamboozle our neighbors, we can wow people who have not heard this before. I need you to understand that we have a lot of work to do, because the moment you begin to awaken, there may be somebody in Australia or somebody in the forest who is in need of help, and as you're in the place of meditation, you can be transported or biolocated to that place to go and help the person, and the person will actually think it was an angel that appeared to her. Practically, this is the reason for it, because as the world moves into this season of darkness and chaos, we are going to become the lights of this world, the messiahs of this world, the anointing the world is looking for. We will literally be able to, if let's assume now that we are evolved to this level that we're supposed to be evolved, we can actually appear in the room, in the bedroom of Putin and tell Putin enough of that war. Withdraw your troops from Ukraine. And literally he can do it. And this thing I'm telling you, there are people who have experienced this thing before. I listened to the biography of what Brother Grubbs. Maybe you guys can go and Google him on YouTube. He was featured on CNN. His story was featured on CNN in 1986. For CNN to pick such a story, then you know that there's a lot of credibility to it. There was this mysterious man that appeared in the United Nations meeting in New York in 1986. He had no passes to enter that place, but he appeared supernaturally in the meeting and addressed some world leaders and disappeared. But it was hidden. His name is Brother Grubbs. Now, Brother Grubbs said, before he died, he said he has traveled to all the nations on the face of the earth and he has never traveled by aeroplane. He will just sit down, and while in the place of meditation, beings of light will manifest and they'll pick him, and he will see himself in Russia, either ministering, talking to people, sharing with people the light, the knowledge. Then in the night, he will appear back in his room. He said at times he will sit down with his family and they'll be eating. And when the glory, the Merkaba, because I know with time, Saleem is going to teach us about the Merkaba. Now, the Merkaba will just come and he will tell his family, please don't wait on me. I'll be back in 2 days. And he will literally disappear in the presence of his wife and his 3 children and go to another nation, accomplish his mission, and come back. So we must begin to create room, fertilize our imaginations with all these endless possibilities. These are possibilities we're going to enjoy as we begin to assimilate the truths that Apostle Saleem is sharing with us. Everybody else is sharing with us. Brother Paul, Dr. Sheila, our brother who was supposed to be the second guest speaker today, Kamaru, all of us, all those amazing truths we're sharing. The end of it is not just to fill our heads with knowledge. The end of it is to awaken and to evolve into the consciousness, to evolve in our consciousness into the knowing of who we truly are. So you see, the divine is not afraid of losing anything. There is no fear of loss, no fear of death. And also, one of the things that generate death is actually what you see when we contemplate how transient life is. When we contemplate the finality of life. And you see, you need to understand that what you are an infinite being. You don't end even at death. You simply transition. You simply exited out of this bus or this car that is conveying you here on earth. The more we begin to awaken to who we are, the more the hold of fear is broken off our lives. We live in a world where people are afraid of cancer. Recently, sorry, let me just put this in. I heard a story, eat a lot of banana and egg. If you eat a lot of banana and egg, you'll be strong. So I started eating eggs every day. Then, and I watched another video, it says, no, don't eat egg. Egg is not good for you. Then I was just confused, and suddenly Spirit told me, he said, why are you so bothered that haven't you read in the scriptures that it is not what you eat or you drink or you take into your body that actually will disrupt the structure of your body. It is that which comes from within you, not what comes from without. So I was actually placing the premium on the wrong things for health, not knowing that the source of health is the light that I am. My being within me, what comes from within me, is what makes my body healthy. That's what defiles the man. Oh my goodness. Woo. I just feel like shouting hallelujah right now, but this is not a church. It's okay. So I was saying, so basically the fear of the unknown, the fear of judgment, the fear of hell, all of this, you must understand that the being that is our mother, our father, the being that we share the same life and spirit with, the being that we're into oneness with, is the being of love. God is love. That was the greatest revelation. John says that he revealed God to us. The greatest revelation we ever got from Jesus was that God is love. He is not hatred. He is not anger. He is not malice. It's so funny. I was in a church recently and the pastor was preaching. He was like, God is not happy with many of you. He's keeping malice with you. That's why you talk to him. He will not answer you. You are calling upon him. He will not answer you because you have offended him and he's keeping malice. And I was like, God, oh, what the fuck? How can the God of heaven, literally stoop low to begin to keep malice? I don't understand that. It's crazy. It's crazy. But you see, there's so many weird and crazy teachings out there that is enslaving people, putting people in the bondage of fear. And the scripture says, I've not given you the spirit of fear. The spirit of you is the spirit of boldness. Oh my goodness. So you see, basically, we must overcome the fear of the unknown, the fear of damnation, the fear of hell, and know that what in this community of godhood, it is just pure love. It's a fellowship of love. Absolute, undiluted, selfless love that has that has no hidden agenda, according to Apostle Saleem. He said God has no hidden agenda. God is not shocked. It's not like when we do something like, God, what? How can Dr. Sheila do that? No, he's never shocked. But you see, at the same time, the fact that God is absolute love, when we begin to awaken in our divinity, I'm telling you, some of the things you're struggling with, you will not struggle with them anymore. Some of the vices, the ills, the things we call sins, we will not struggle with it. Now, practically, what is sin? Sin is what misbehavior. There are two words there, the prefix and the suffix. That is missing your original behavior. Now, originally, you are righteous. You see, sin is not our default. Purity, holiness is our default. Perfection is our default. So when you're acting out of sync with who you are, you begin to manifest certain imperfect tendencies in your relationship with people. You can be insulting, angry, this. What are you doing? You're acting out of character. It's just like a woman who chooses to want to behave like a man. Like all this craziness in America with transgender, somebody will say, okay, she associates with a cat, she's no longer a woman, she's a cat, and she begins to learn how to bleep like a cat, meow, 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 meow. And now, no matter how she does that craziness, she's still a woman, she's not a cat. No matter how I put on high heels with lipsticks, I'm still a man. I'm simply misbehaving. I'm living in self-denial. I'm denying my original identity. So anytime you're committing sin or you're telling people I'm a sinner, you are in self-denial. Perfection and righteousness is what the acceptance of self. Accept yourself and love yourself. Be in love with yourself. the divine self that is you. Be in love with it. When you're in love with it, I'm telling you, see, you will not struggle to manifest purity and righteousness. It just flows naturally. You just see yourself loving on people. You see yourself just giving yourself selflessly to people. You see, there's something I love about Apostle Saleem. He's a man that he is so eager to teach you that even when you're not willing to learn, he feels like opening your brain to force you to learn. And I understand where he's coming from. You see, there's something you see that you wish as if you can carry a megaphone that is big enough to ring in the ears of the whole world just to tell them, guys, you are not bound. You're free beings. Guys, you are not lesser entities. You are divine entities. You are the cherubims of God. You are the Lucifer the world is looking for. Practically, the word Lucifer is the congregations of the morning stars. So Lucifer is not a title for Satan. We are Lucifer. We are the bright morning star. That's why when Jesus came in his humanity, he was addressed as the bright morning star. So I am the Lucifer. Don't allow don't allow religion and Satan, the new age, the occult, steal that title from you. It simply means the bright and glorious morning star. One of the highest being in heaven, which is man. Adam is the Lucifer. So we are creatures of big glory, and we have zero reason to be afraid. So number one root and antidote to our fear is to brutally embrace the truth of our being, that we are not separated. We are one. If God is to judge you, he's judging himself. If God is to destroy you, he's destroying himself. If God is to place a curse on you, he's cursing himself. And God cannot curse himself. I am in him, he is in me. It's an unbreakable union. There is nothing I can do there is nothing I can do to void my oneness with him. There is nothing I can do to void my perfection. I can only embrace it. Stop fighting it. Number two, one of the areas that I believe, apart from coming to that realization, you must keep speaking to yourself. This is who I am. Dr. Saleem taught us certain meditations, confessions. You see, don't even focus on fear as a thing. Fear is not the issue. The issue is what that thing in you that makes you feel you are separated from source. That is the root of every kind of fear. Even the fear of lack, the fear of everything, the fear of hunger. Look at what Jesus said. He says, he said, take no thought of tomorrow. Don't think about what I'm going to eat, what I'm going to drink, how I'm going to pay my bills, blah, 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 blah. He said, don't think of those things. He says, pagans think. Who are pagans? People who are walking in the ignorance of their oneness. Those are the thoughts that occupy their minds. He said, take not thought. Do not worry about this thing. He said, consider the lilies, consider the flowers. He says, they don't farm, they don't have a president, but they are. I have never seen a bird that fell out of the sky out of hunger. The day you see a bird fall out of the sky out of hunger, they know that something has gone wrong with the world. Then the bird fell down, and it was breathing, hyperventilating. And they're like, bird, what's hungry? Say, I'm hungry, I need some guinea corn. No bird will actually do that. In the place of total union, in the celebration of union, there is no fear. It is sheer pleasure and love. Oh, that our eyes might be opened. Oh, that we might come into the realization of all these truths that are being released. That we might just know that, Lucy, you see, money will not solve your problem, brethren. Whether you know it or not, the monetary system is about to fail. In the next 30 years, we will no longer be using currency. Using money, paper as a currency. No. I'm telling you. I know a guy in Nigeria. His name is Olapade. He did something in our presence that shocked us. This guy closed his eyes and actually said something. He says, I'm going to cause a glitch in MTN, and all of you are going to receive free data in your phone now. And we had close to about 50 people. And this guy actually closed his eyes I used his mind to create a glitch in ATM, and people started receiving what data alerts. Ladies and gentlemen, the solution is not the government. The solution is not money. The solution is not more money. The more you make more money, the more there's an emptiness that will be created in you, like you need more money. When you come into that realization, money serves you. You don't serve money. You come to that point whereby you have zero worries, not because you have everything on earth, but because you are in a place where even your needs can no longer affect you. So to me, basically, that is the root of fear. Every other things that we experience, they are the fruits of fear. The fear of failure, the fear of untimely death, the fear of contracting a disease. They are all the fruits. They are fruits, they are not roots. But the root of fear is the entertainment of the concept of duality. And unfortunately, the church that is supposed to be the place where we learn truth, the church and religion has been responsible for the propagation of the spirit of fear. No wonder he says, come out from among them, that the light of Christ may emanate from within you. So basically, guys, I don't intend to take 2 hours, 30 hours. So that's basically what I want to share. So this is the root of fear, and the cure, the root of fear is duality and separation, the entertainment of the concept of duality and separation. And the cure to it is also to embrace the concept of oneness. It's not even a concept, it's the reality of our oneness with Him. So that is the cause of the problem, and that is the solution. Thank you very much. God bless everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you, Pastor Abba Bishops from Nigeria. Wow, that was, you killed it. You just killed it. I have nothing to add there. It needs a doctor. And I will let Dr. Sheila comment on that. Because for me, they say there is something called a sin. Sin actually is to miss the point. Sin, that game of darts, when you miss the bullseye, it is what sin is. Even that, actually, it was taken from that game. So you killed it, you hit the bull's eye, and you just placed it. For those who are in religion, there is an aspect of religion in all what you have spoken. Those who are in spirituality, it is there too. And even those who are, they might call themselves as atheists. Let me tell you, that message had everything to do with them, because if God is everything, even atheist is God. Dr. Sheila.
I really have nothing to add, because then you have understood in depth, right? You realize it's like the tempo is increasing, that we are moving from one level to another and building precept upon precept, line upon line. We're just building on the sharing that we have done initially. So I am thankful. We give gratitude for the same, Bishop. Thank you. And then maybe we can just move on.
Yeah, my laptop had some glitches here hanging. Thank you again, Bishop, my brother from another mother. You have been a blessing to us. And I'll just be grateful to the universe because of you and your presence being in our family of cosmic consciousness. And as we grow together, we'll move together. Thank you again. I appreciate you and I love you. So now I will wish